Lymph. This is Tanner Gessling with your evening news. First things first, today has been a beautiful day with no congestion on the lymphatic highway. But today little Billy's tonsils were not working correctly and they got very swollen. He has had trouble breathing and a very sore throat. His tonsils have collected too many bacteria and are now causing trouble. This is just in, breaking news from Suad, who has information on a new case of edema.
Hello, I'm Suad with your breaking news. We have Mrs. Gessling here, who has recently suffered from an edema attack. Ma'am, can you please tell us how you're feeling this evening?
Well, Mr. Rajdanovich, to tell you the truth, I do not feel very good at all. And my leg is freaking me out.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. But can you please explain your situation to our viewers today, so we can get a better insight on how you're feeling?
Sure, for starters, the lymphatic system isn't something you want to mess with. My leg is swollen from edema, but I couldn't tell you much more than that.
Well, Mrs. Gessling, to give you a little better insight on how edema works, there is a leaked fluid, as well as any plasma proteins that escape from the blood that must be carried back to the blood if the vascular system is to have sufficient blood volume to operate properly. If it does not, a fluid accumulates in the tissues and that produces edema. Excessive edema impairs the ability of tissue cells to make exchanges within the interstitial fluid and ultimately the blood. The function of the lymphatic vessels is to form an elaborate drainage system that picks up this excessive tissue fluid, now called lymph, and returns it to the blood. The lymphatic vessels form a one-way system and lymph flows only toward the heart. Lymph capillaries weave between the tissue cells and blood capillaries and the loose connective tissues of the body and absorb the leaked fluid. Although similar to the blood capillaries, lymphatic capillaries are so remarkably permeable that they were once thought to be open at one end like a straw. Not so, instead, what we find is that the edges of the endothelial cells forming their walls loosely overlap one another, forming flap-like mini-valves that act as one-way swinging doors. Well, Mrs. Gessling, now that you have a better insight of your situation with edema, what are you going to do from here?
Now that I realize how severe it is, I'm going to go to the doctors and hopefully get medical treatment.
Ah, well, best of luck to you. Thank you for seeing us today and your time.
Thank
you have
you.
a lovely day. This has been Suad with your breaking news. I'm going to take you back now to Tanner Gessling now. Have a nice day.
In other news today, we have had problems controlling the spleen. It does not want to do its job properly, filtering and cleaning the blood of bacteria, viruses, and other harmful debris. Because of this, the streets have been flooded with worn-out red blood cells, meaning we cannot return any of their broken-down products to the liver. But do not be alarmed. We have the lymph police on site in resolving the issue, and everything should be back up and running as soon as the spleen decides to cooperate with the local authorities. In the sports world today, how about those mighty white blood cells beating the T cells by 2 points in overtime? It was an evenly matched game, but our white blood cells came out victorious. Hopefully they can keep up this hot streak. Today the thymus market has risen by 2%. The thymus has produced millions of hormones, meaning that the lymphocytes can now protect our roles in the body. Being a young economy, we are experiencing a rise, but we have a feeling that as the years go by, we're going to go downhill. So enjoy the good times while they last. Now we're going to take you back to Suad, who is going to give you some alarming news on Pyre's patches.
This is Suad reporting from the small intestines, where we've had an attack on the patches. We have multiple row of bacteria attacking, making it impossible for the patches to capture and then destroy the bacteria. If the molt did not come soon, the bacteria might penetrate the intestinal walls, and from there they can infect the upper respiratory and digestive tracts. Hopefully we can get some molt operatives here soon, or we are all doomed. Now back to Tanner.
Thanks for watching ST News with Tanner Gessling and Suad. Have a good evening and be sure to tune in tomorrow at the same time and place for the best news around.